The numbers are staggering. In just 1 year, US-China trade collapsed by 70%, a freefall that shattered decades of economic integration. Once, their economies were inseparable, but now, the flow of goods has slowed to a trickle, exposing the fragility of global supply chains. Factories idle, shipping containers sit empty, and businesses built on stable access to Chinese markets are left vulnerable. The old logic, that the two giants were too intertwined to break apart, has been replaced by confrontation and distrust. This collapse isn't just lost profits, it's a symbol of how quickly globalization can unravel when politics override economics. The world watched, hoping for a course correction, but instead, the two nations plunged into crisis. Without warning, Beijing imposed a 1,000% tariff on all US goods, a move designed to annihilate trade, not regulate it. American products became instantly unaffordable in China, severing the last threads of a once-thriving partnership. Simultaneously, China's state banks froze all new investment into the US, triggering a trillion-dollar capital flight. US markets lost value at a historic pace, shaking the foundations of global finance. These actions weren't just economic measures, they were weapons, signaling a new era where commerce is a battlefield. The world's assumption that economic interdependence would prevent conflict is now dead. Beijing has shown it's willing to endure pain to achieve its political aims, and the fallout is only beginning. The global economy, already fragile, now faces a storm of unprecedented scale. For American businesses tied to China, the tariffs and investment freeze were catastrophic. Automakers, tech giants, and startups lost access to a market of $1.4 billion overnight, revenue vanished, and survival became uncertain. The capital freeze hit hard. Venture funding dried up, real estate projects stalled, and innovation slowed. The pain rippled down to small businesses, starving them of cash and opportunity. For consumers, the impact was immediate shortages, higher prices, and job losses. The American middle class, once secure, now faces layoffs and shrinking prospects. This crisis is a direct assault on prosperity, unraveling decades of economic growth. Beyond the numbers, the human cost is profound. Prices for everyday goods soared, stretching family budgets to the breaking point. Mass layoffs swept through manufacturing and tech, leaving families facing foreclosure and uncertainty. Retirement savings evaporated as markets crashed, shattering dreams of financial security. Fear and uncertainty gripped communities. People stopped spending, hurting local businesses and deepening the downturn. The crisis that began in diplomatic circles now devastates Main Street. The social fabric is fraying as economic hardship spreads. This is not just a trade war, it's a test of national resilience. This crisis is the result of a decade of escalating trade tensions. It began with US tariffs on Chinese goods, aimed at addressing intellectual property theft and trade imbalances. China retaliated, targeting American agriculture and deepening the rift. The conflict expanded into technology bans and sanctions, each side viewing the other's moves as existential threats. Failed negotiations and rising rhetoric pushed both nations into rival economic blocs. The final straw sweeping US tech bans and sanctions on Chinese banks, prompting Beijing's drastic response. Each escalation fueled the next, locking both countries into a cycle of confrontation. Today's crisis is the logical, if terrifying, outcome of years of tit-for-tat escalation. Washington responded with shock and resolve. The president condemned China's actions as economic aggression, while officials scrambled to stabilize markets and prepare countermeasures. Bipartisan unity emerged, but debate raged over how far to escalate. In Beijing, state media framed the move as a defense of sovereignty, urging citizens to endure hardship for national dignity. Global markets plunged. Stock exchanges crashed, commodities tumbled, and currencies swung wildly. The IMF warned of a global recession deeper than 2008. Analysts agreed there are no winners, only chaos and years of painful adjustment ahead. The era of predictable global trade is over. The world faces a crisis of confidence. The shockwaves are global, forcing nations to choose sides or risk isolation. Europe faces a wrenching choice between US security and Chinese economic ties. New blocs are forming. China deepens ties with Belt and Road partners, while the US seeks new alliances in Asia. Global capital is in flight, seeking safe havens and triggering instability in emerging markets. Supply chains are being dismantled and rebuilt along political lines, raising costs and reducing innovation. The seamless world economy is fracturing into rival camps. Strategic redundancy replaces efficiency, and economic logic gives way to political allegiance. The world is entering a new, more dangerous era of uncertainty. Both the US and China now face immense risks. America confronts recession, inflation, and the threat to the dollar's global dominance. China risks stalling its own growth and uniting the world against it. There's no easy way out. Distrust is too high for a quick resolution. The global economy is hostage to this standoff, and the next moves will shape the world for generations. Will leaders escalate, or find the courage to step back and rebuild trust? The stakes could not be higher. The future of global prosperity hangs in the balance. In this moment, understanding the forces at play is more important than ever.